Let's get some headlines from across the state of Texas. Let's start with a couple of coaching changes. We'll start down there on the coast. Actually, this is going to be a very Galveston Ball heavy segment of headlines. Down in Galveston Ball, you may remember that they've been looking for a new head coach ever since Sheldon Benight left there. Sheldon Benight did such a fabulous job there. He left to go take over at New Caney. That job has been open since mid-March. That job is now closed as they have hired Clear Springs offensive coordinator Amasha Brantley to be their next head coach. This is a guy who's been the offensive coordinator at Clear Springs the last couple of seasons. This is his first head coaching job, but it's a bit of a rebuild that he's taking over. Even they were 9-3 last year. We'll talk about one of their stars who's off to the next level here in a moment. But I think this is a guy who is going to be a really, really interesting hire. He's got some good pedigree there. He was a student assistant at Sam Houston under Willie Fritz there before Willie Fritz went off to, now he's the head coach there at Houston. Spent time as a grad assistant at what was Texas A&M Commerce, now A&M, now East Texas A&M in Northwestern State. And then he's kind of bounced around the high school football world for a while, now landing his first head coaching job there. I think this is a really nice hire there for Galveston Ball. Amasha Brantley is a guy that we've known to put up some big numbers there. So if you like offense, I think that's coming to the coast. Galveston Ball has found their next head coach. Now, I mentioned that a Dallas legend is coming home. Let's talk about Dallas Gateway Charter. Okay, Dallas Gateway is an interesting, just obviously it's a charter school within Dallas ISD, and they have hired a DFW legend to be their next head coach. Byron Eaton is going to be their next head coach. Of course, he led Dallas Lincoln to a state championship game appearance in 2004, and as a freshman was a part of that Dallas Lincoln basketball team that is known as perhaps one of the greatest basketball teams in Texas history. Mm-hmm. He went on, of course, to a really nice career at Oklahoma State, where he averaged 14-6 there for the Cowboys. He does take over at Dallas Gateway. He is promoted from within. He was an assistant on this staff. Got promoted from within. They joined the UIL in 2010. They've kind of struggled. They've had just one winning season back in 2014. They're 2-6-1 this past year. But I will tell you that from a name recognition perspective, Byron Eaton is one of the highest profile name guys now in Dallas ISD. He's the new, or rather in kind of the Dallas schools, I should say, as Byron Eaton takes over there at the Dallas Gateway. Now, let's go to Little Elm. Stay in the DFW Metroplex. Little Elm has we don't report usually on assistant coaches unless it's super, super, super high profile, right? Mm-hmm. Because there's just too many. Guys, there's 1,500 high school football teams, and so if we did the coordinators, that would be 3,000 coordinators, mm-hmm. okay? Let alone if we did all the assistant
coaches, yeah.
Right? It would be
We're already trying to keep up with all the players.
Very tough. So it takes a lot for us to talk about a offensive line coach getting hired, but Little Elm has hired Joe Looney to be their next offensive line coach. You may remember him as, Dallas Cowboy Joe Looney. He started 42 games over 8 seasons in the NFL. Back in 2018, when Travis Frederick went down, he was thrust into the starting lineup, and the offensive line really didn't miss a beat. They won the NFC East, went 10-6, reached the divisional round, etc. Little Elm coming off of a winless season. They haven't had a winning season since 2017. Keyston Alexander, you may remember, took over from Joe Castillo. Interested in seeing what they will have a high-profile name on the staff there. As Joe Looney is going to be the new offensive coordinator, the new offensive line coach, rather, at Little Elm. Interesting to see how that works out, but certainly a big name coming out there. Let's continue. Let's talk about what's coming up this weekend, Pickle. Mm-hmm. You got plans? What are we doing Thursday night?
We're watching the draft.
We're watching the draft. Me and you?
No.
Okay. The NFL draft starts on Thursday. It's now a 3-day extravaganza because everything's made for television. And there will be a number of big-time names that are drafted from Texas. In fact, we've got a number of great stories up about them on TexasFootball.com. Guys like Shador Sanders is going to go almost certainly in the first round. Cam Ward from West Columbia may, in fact, go number 1 overall. There are big names not only from the high school football ranks, but from the college football ranks that we'll be keeping an eye on all throughout there. Next Monday, we'll have a full recap of how the NFL draft went for Texas high school football players, but big names coming there in the NFL draft this weekend.
We'll have a lot of good social media coverage of it, too.
Mm-hmm. Finally, let's talk about the gentleman over my shoulder. Look, I did it.
Wow.
Kind of, right there. That guy, blurry over my shoulder. That gentleman is the former Galveston Ball standout Jonah Williams. And Jonah Williams, you may remember, used to be at Galveston Ball. Just finished up his senior season playing football at Galveston Ball. He signed with the University of Texas. He enrolled early, right? But one of the things, if you read the cover story of the 2024 Rising Edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, you will know that he is a two-sport star. He is obviously excellent on the football field, but he may be even better on the baseball diamond.
Yeah.
And when you enroll early, a funny thing happens. You're eligible to play for the baseball team. And so imagine our surprise this weekend when starting in left field for the Texas Longhorns, this guy.
It's crazy.
Jonah Williams, whose graduating class hasn't even walked the stage yet. And all he does in his first 2 starts for Texas, I think they played Auburn.
I think that's right.
Goes 5 for 7 with 3 RBIs.
Good Lord. The kid's just an athlete.
The
at
kid
that point.
The kid can do it all.
Yeah.
And yeah, look, I'm not saying that he went 5 for 7 with 3 RBIs because he was on the Rising edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. That would be ridiculous.
But I'm not saying that it's not possible.
I'm not saying, though. Just saying. Congratulations to Jonah Williams, who started off his outstanding baseball career there at Texas. Excited to see what is next for him. Those are some headlines from across the state of Texas.